Finally, Bjorling. Afternoon, we have returned to take on the Titan, the tenor in my eyes, Jussi Bjorling. Jussi Bjorling was born in Stora Tuden, Sweden in 1911. He died on September 9th, 1960. I think also in Stora Tuna. Pretty sure he might have died in Stockholm. I know he died in Sweden. In any event, Jussi had a long and storied career and was widely considered during the height of his career to be one of, if not the best tenor in the world. And this was during the golden age of opera, when opera was as popular as it's ever been in this country, and probably also in Europe as well, at least in the modern era. And this was the very beginning of the television age. He actually did a few things on television in Europe and also here in the States. I'm going to show you a few of those today. And the thing about Bjorling's voice that I always just marveled at and always tried to emulate and would listen just over and over and over and be like, God, how did he do that? Is his voice was technically perfect. Like, it's perfect. His technique is outstanding, flawless, rock solid, bulletproof, whatever you want to say. There has never been a better technique for an opera singer that I've ever heard of or seen, ever. Now, that's crazy. That's hyperbole. We've all got our favorites, but I've just never seen anyone sing better than he does, technically speaking. He also had a once in a lifetime, 1 in 10 million voice. His voice was beautifully colored with a very unique hue. His vibrato was very even. He sang with a lot of vibrancy throughout his entire range. He sang very cleanly. The notes were always just spot on, right in the middle of the center of the pitch. Just a very classy singer. He was also accused sometimes of being kind of cold and somewhat detached, and I don't find that in his singing at all. I find his singing very impassioned, etc. It's different than that. Maybe you see from some of the Latin singers, maybe, but it's definitely very declamatory, especially the live opera stuff. It's extremely dramatic. It's incredible. So the first piece we're going to champion for Mr. Bjorling today is Till Havs. That is a Swedish song by, I think the gentleman's name is Nordquist, is the composer. I've heard him sing this a couple times. He's recorded it a few times on different albums, etc. And there is a movie that I think he did in the early 50s in Sweden where he has this very produced, where he's on stage with a band behind him, and it's, he sings. It sounds beautiful, but that is not live. I actually found a recording of him on a Swedish television show in 1958, looks like, of singing this with piano accompaniment, and the audio quality is excellent. You can see what he's doing, really see how he sings and how he carries himself. This is just the last verse of Till Havs, because we've got many songs to get to today. But you can really see what he's doing with his mouth and his embouchure. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what he's doing technically after the piece. But let's go ahead and listen to Till Havs. Take it away, Jussi. Here we go.
Sväll, härligt sköna segelsväll, i vindens döst. Flyg fram med fröjd mot vågens fjäll, i stundens högsta lust. Till havs, till storms du kärva jag, till havs, till storms var man på vakt. Till
Well, there you go. So obviously that voice is just locked in. It's perfectly intoned. He's got an amazing facility. This is later in his career. He died not 2 years later, actually, but he's 47 years old here and singing, with no degradation in the sound at all. It's still very light, lyric, beautiful, but very, very robust, a little bit more burnished sound than he had when he was younger. It's getting more aged and more seasoned, which is natural. That's what you're supposed to sound like. So the thing about Bjorling that I always found so amazing is he has such an elasticity in his voice. We've talked about that in other recordings. I think that's really an important thing for singers and opera singers in particular, to have that elasticity, because if your technique is absolutely rock solid and you have your foundation built so strongly with your technique, you have the ability to play. I mean, within the framework of your solid, rock solid technique, you can move around and change colors and change embouchures, whether you want to sing something open in the passaggio or whether you want to close it in the passaggio. You can listen to Bjorling play with that. You see a little bit in this piece, but in particular, my next piece I'm going to show you is from the the operetta Princess Pat, and he sings the Neapolitan love song. And that's a live performance from here, American television, from the Firestone series that they did back in the 50s as well. And you'll see in here a couple times he chooses to sing just wide open like Fs, and then immediately flip up like an A or an A flat and cover, and then you'll have no degradation in the sound. There's no, momentary where you're trying to get synced back up and bounce when you go from the chest and flip right into the head. Nope, doesn't have any of that. His voice just slides effortlessly into the top. There's no seams in his voice. His voice is seamless, regardless of whether he's singing open, closed, in the passaggio, totally in the head, or whether he's in the chest. So let's bring up the Neapolitan love song and take a listen to that, and then we'll move on to our next piece. All right, Jussi, here we go. All right, believe it or not, there are actually two different versions of this you can find on YouTube, where he sang the Neapolitan love song on the Firestone Hour in different years, I guess, different seasons. But I actually prefer this one because I think the audio is maybe just a little bit better, and obviously the video quality is a little bit better if you compare the two. This one's got players that are like interacting with it. I did a little semi-stage thing, and they're also singing along. I guess this is maybe the actual operetta has this in it, versus just him singing by himself. But it's kind of cheesy, but the song's great and he sings it immaculately. So let's take a listen and watch Jussi Bjorling sing Neapolitan love song. Take it away.
Jussi Bjorling and the Firestone Orchestra and Chorus present next the Neapolitan love song.
It's evening and the sun is at rest, the shadows now fall. In the heaven a radiant star is shining, and softly as the night brought her sable mantle o'er, there's a nightingale singing of his love for a rose. Madly my heart is beating as I long for my hour of meeting. Visions of beauty and grace, I await your embrace at yon side beyond. With one how my heart is yearning, ever with you to be. Love light in your dear eyes burning, stand with faithful and true to me. Tell me when shall I again caress you? only tell me when. I long to press you down on me within my heart.
Yeah, that was pretty good. What an amazing voice, and an easy facility. I mean, obviously, he takes a couple of. Let me go ahead and get that changed. Okay, so he makes a couple of choices in there. Like, I don't really know the words too well to this. I've never sung this piece, although I played around with it a little bit. But steadfast, and they use steadfast, faithful, whatever the words are. I don't even remember exactly what is, but he goes steadfast, and that's open. And then he sings faithful, and goes right into the top and covers it. And on the same note, he just sang fast, open, and then he goes faith, and switches right into the cover so he can go into the top. It's like the way that he handles that so seamlessly. It's like if you're not paying attention, you don't even notice he's doing it. There's like no distinction between covered or uncovered. He could move in and out of the passaggio almost at will. And I'm going to play you a couple of examples of this, where he also had the ability to go from a full full high note where he's singing in full voice, and then decrescendo down to nothing, a whisper, and it's like you're literally turning the control knob down on a dial. It's so crazy, the control this man had with that beautiful voice of his. So all right, so now we've had two beautiful pieces by Mr. Bjorling. If you don't count the Romeo, the excerpt I played at the very beginning. We're now going to move on to our next selection, which is going to be my absolute favorite version of Che gelida manina from La Bohème. He sang it, I think, close to 300 times in his career, performances of Bohème as Rodolfo, all over the world, in Swedish initially when he sang at the Royal Opera House in Sweden. In fact, at that time, it was very common for him to sing all of the big operas, all the famous classical operas that we all know and love, in Swedish whenever he sang them at the Royal Opera House in Stockholm. So you have recordings of him singing all these beautiful operas in Swedish, which is kind of crazy. Anyway, he sang this at a concert in the United States in Atlanta in 1959. This is with piano accompaniment. The audio is excellent. It's very, very good, and you can hear it. Unfortunately, there's not a video of this, but you can hear everything. It's my favorite version of Bohème. Let's listen to him sing it. Now, the one thing I will say about this, for you purists out there, and who's going to jump on me and say, hey, you didn't mention this, it is a half step low. And so this is 1959. I don't know why he sang it a half step low. I'm sure he probably still had his high C, no problem, but maybe he just liked it. Maybe he just liked it for that particular performance, but it is a high B at the end versus a high C, but it's the best high B I've ever heard in my life. So, all right, without further ado, let's bring Mr. Bjorling on to sing Che gelida manina, 1959, Atlanta, with piano. It's fantastic. Here we go.
There is a request again, Rodolfo's aria from La Bohème.
It's a very high speaking voice, right? All right, here we go.
Se la lasci riscaldar, Aspetti, signorina, le dirò con due parole. Chi son? Sono un poeta, che cosa faccio? Scrivo e come vivo, vivo. In povertà mia lieta, scialosa gran signore, rimedi d'amore per sogni per chi vede e per castelli in aria. L'anima
Yeah, it's just so good. I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope that maybe that's something you haven't heard before, that live version. I mean, he's got the one that he recorded with Sir Thomas Beecham from the studio album that he recorded the entire opera with Victoria de Los Angeles. I think maybe Robert Merrill or so. Anyway, this I prefer, and I know it's a half step down, etc. But that voice is perfect. It's insanity to me how beautiful the colors he gets, and you'll notice it's very tender. Now, the thing about Bjorling, at least as was mentioned by many people who sang with him or heard him live, it wasn't an enormously loud, huge voice. It wasn't like a Corelli or Mario Del Monico, just, blast out a ton of sound. But it was extremely, very focused and very efficient singing, so that whenever he sang and pointed that voice, it would feel like it was like bouncing off the back of the walls and sounded like that voice was plugged into an electric socket. And that's the thing that everyone said he has such a height or a heightened quality in his voice. If you watch him or watch videos of him singing, he sings with the raised cheeks like we've discussed before. Now, with Krauss, when we were discussing that's a function of having higher singer format and upper partials being more dominant in the sound so that they carry, right? And Krauss also would talk about singing in the mask, and that would be something that he would really focus on. With Bjorling, I think he sang in the mask, but it was also something that was a byproduct of what he was doing with his technique. It wasn't necessarily the focus of where he was trying to put the sound. It just kind of happened because that's what he did. But more, as it was explained to me by people that sang with him, is he did that in an effort to have much more height in the sound so that the voice would be able to travel over those big orchestras, because he sang larger repertoire. Like he sang spinto roles that are typically more heavily orchestrated than those of lighter parts, and he did it with that voice, which is extremely very lyric sound. But no one had any problem hearing that, man, because that voice cut through that like a knife through butter. It's just amazing. Now, to go back to the Bohème here just real quick, I know there has been criticism of Bjorling, the great Bjorling. There is criticism that is probably merited, that he was a sloppy linguist. I think that's true. I've studied this role. I've sung this aria about 1 million times, both in performances, auditions, and also in the practice room. I know this aria. So when he sings, in a povertà mia dieta, shallow sagran, that's not right. Right? It's shallow da gran signore, rimerini d'amore, personie per chi mere. He doesn't do that. He goes personi per chi mere, or something weird with his voice, with his vowels rather. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue and say that is not true. It's true. He was somewhat of a sloppy linguist at times. But 70 years later, after he recorded this, I think we can let that go and just appreciate the vocalism, because the vocalism is, in my opinion, it's unmatched. I've never heard more beautiful marriage of tone quality and technique, and just an overall musician shaping phrases, but not overly indulgent. It's hard to explain. It's like the perfect mix of all of those things. That's Bjorling for me is the most balanced singer I've ever heard across the board. It's just insanely good. We should all be so lucky to try to even get anywhere near what he did, technically speaking. It's just incredible. So, okay, so let's go to the next piece. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about, him having the ability to have such facility and sing declamatory, beautiful high notes, and then also to peel them back and sing very softly. This next piece is Vladimir's Recitative in Cavatina from Prince Igor by Borodin, it's sung in Russian, right? Well, this is not sung in Russian. This is sung in Swedish. This is on his studio recording he did in the 50s, I think, with the Royal Opera House Orchestra. It's sonically, it's insane. It's in stereo, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, without further ado, let's bring on Vladimir's Recitative et Cavatina from Prince Igor. I'm going to let this speak for itself. It's the most beautiful thing, maybe ever. Here we go.
Dagen gick långsamt till ro. Solen sjönk ned bakom skogen. Aftonens rodnad blott dröjer. Snart ligger natt över jorden. Släppen förmörkas, döljes av skuggor. Dimmorna stiga. Längtan och
Are you kidding me? That is the most beautiful diminuendo I've ever heard in my life. That's incredible to have all of that quality, that tonal quality to be intact and to go up there and sing that way. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. God, I love that piece so much. I love everything about it. Actually, I've actually sung this. I sang it I couldn't learn the Russian. So I learned it in French, and it wasn't the same, but oh my God, it's such a beautiful piece. Tough to sing, actually, very tough to sing. But if you have the ability to sing, soft in your high voice, which by the grace of God, I do have that ability. I was able to pull that off as well, fairly well there at the end and do that. Not as well as he did, but just that voice is insane. I just can't even get over how beautiful that man's voice is. Blows me away. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. And for those of you that maybe hadn't heard that aria before, yeah, that aria is out there. That beautiful aria is out there. Incredible, incredible. All right. So I don't want this thing to get too long, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my coup de grace. A fouiller de ces images. So this is the aria from Massenet's Manon by Desgrieux. The part is Desgrieux. Bjorling, curiously enough, never sang this version of Desgrieux. He sang the Desgrieux in Manon Lescaut, Puccini's Manon Lescaut, many, many times. I think he recorded it. He sang it. I have live versions of it just all over the place. He sang it all over the place. But for whatever reason, he recorded Le Rêve, which is the dream from Manon, which is, the other aria from this opera, the first aria. And then he also sang A fouiller de ces images in concert. He recorded it, etc. He is the perfect Desgrieux, the Massenet Desgrieux. But for whatever reason, he never did it. I don't know why, but It's one of those curious things that happened in the world of opera for whatever reason. But this aria, I'm telling you, it's littered. It is a graveyard for tenors who have tried, attempted, and failed this aria. It is so hard to sing and sing well. I'm telling you, it is a son of a gun to sing this thing. So let's listen to him sing it expertly, probably better than I've ever heard anyone else do it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, without further ado, A fouiller de ces images from Massenet's Manon. Take it away, Bjorling.
Je suis seul, seul enfin, c'est le moment suprême. Il n'est plus rien que j'aime que le repos sacré que m'apporte la foi. Oui, j'ai volé vêtu de même entre le monde et moi. De mon corps
I don't know that I've heard anybody sing anything any better. I mean, it's just that aria. I'm telling you, that aria is tough. It's so hard to sing that aria. It's hard to sing that aria, period. Just to get through the damn thing is extremely hard. But to sing it like it does, it's like not a big deal. It's not hard. It can go super soft, voce finta almost. Very, very, very light, very lyric, very, very just gentle to declamatory, stentorian, bombing out high notes. It all in the same piece from the same guy without ever losing the same essence, the same quality. That's the same voice. To have that ability to stretch that far, both sides of the envelope, it's just incredible. It's vocal mastery is what it is. And it's a mastery of one's technique. And it's also having a God-given, fantastic voice. A voice, like I said, 1 in 10 million. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was so much fun to put this together. Bjorling has a special place in my heart. My teacher studied with him. I studied with him. He took some lessons from him at San Francisco Opera in the mid-50s when he was there singing as a young singer. Bjorling was doing, leads and stuff. I think he was there doing covers, etc. But my teacher was Richard Miller at Oberlin Conservatory of Music, and I studied with him. And he relayed those stories about Bjorling and being able to like be in the room in rehearsals and listen to him sing. I can't even imagine what that was like for him. So what a thrill. Amazing. So I hope that all is well for you guys, that you're having a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year so far. I wish you all the best. Good luck. God bless. Until then, we'll have another one coming soon. I'm not sure. I've got a couple of ideas about who it's going to be, but so far we're on a good track here. I'm really enjoying doing this. So, all right. Good luck. God bless. We will see you soon. Texas Tenor is out.